Hey guys, so we're looking at our proportions notes. We're going to go over the percent proportion as well as the percent equation. So both of these are ways of finding either the part, the whole, the percent in certain problems. This is going to be great because it's really, really useful in real life. So on the left here, we have our percent proportion. And on the right is our percent equation. I personally really like the percent proportion, but when I'm solving things in my calculator, often I get into a habit of solving the percent equation without actually writing it all out. So they are both super useful. So a percent proportion is set up as part over whole is equal to percent over 100. Another way to say this is it's also equal to the is over of. So when you're reading something and it says 30 is 75% of 40, that tells us how to set it up. Because we don't always think of things as part and whole on a regular basis. So if we're looking at 30 is 75% of 40, this tells us that 30 is on the top of 40. Our percent is always over 100. And so that's on this side. All right, so that's how we set up our percent proportion. But what about when we're missing a piece? So if you look at number 1, it says, what is 9% of 81? So we're trying to find the is, which tells me that I need my is, which I can mark as a question mark or X or whatever I'd like to use. What is 9% of 81? So 81 is our of, or our whole. And then we know we've got 9%, which is 9 over 100. So in order to find this, I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So 9 times 81 divided by 100. When I multiply 9 times 81, I get 729 divided by 100 is 7 29/100ths. Now, obviously, if my decimal went further, I would round to probably the nearest hundredth or thousandth, depending on what my directions say. So 9% of 81 is 7 29/100ths. What percent is 45 out of 180? And we're trying to find our percent, which is always out of 100, because a percent is part of 100. So again, cross multiply and divide. 45 times 100 is 4,500. Divided by 180 is 25. In other words, 25%. Please make sure you answer correctly. 15 is 30% of what number? We don't know the of, so we put a question mark. And we know 30% is over 100. If you need to remember what percentages are always over, think about a test. You got a 30%, it's 30% out of 100%. So always out of 100. Again, cross multiply and divide. So 15 times 100 would be 1,500. 1,500 divided by 30 is 50. So in other words, 15 is 30% of 50. All right, let's look at this percent equation. So the percent equation is the part is equal to the percent, written as a decimal, multiplied by the whole. So if we were to write 30 is 75% of 40 into a percent equation, we'd say, okay, 30 is 75% as a decimal is 0.75 times 40. So if I wanted to actually check that this is true, I'd get my calculator out and I'd put in 0.75 times 40, and I'd make sure that I get 30. All right, but what if we're missing pieces, just like Mrs. Coyle said? So what percent is 56 out of 224? So 56 is the part set equal to the percent, which we do not know, so that's going to be marked as X, times our whole, which is 224. So we need to make sure that we're figuring out what X is. In order to do that, divide by 224. So we have 56 divided by 224 gives us 0.25, which means that our answer is 25%. You do not leave it here. This turns into that. All right, 20 is 32% of what number? We need 32 as a decimal multiplied by what we don't know, which is the of, or our whole. So we have 20 and we have 0.32x. In order to solve this, we divide by what we've got. So 20 divided by 0.32 gives us what x is, which is 62 5/10. All right, last but not least, what is 19% of 20? We are going to take, we do not know what it's set equal to, but we know that 0.19 multiplied by 20 will give us our part. So 0.19 times 20, x is equal to 3.8. All right. So both of these can work. I personally prefer our percent proportion, but if you feel like you're a master of the equations, you can always use the percent equation as well. Typically, if I'm thinking of like a tip and I know that I paid $20 and I want to give a 20% tip, I just multiply 20 by 0.2. So that's where the percent equation comes in. However, if I'm not totally comfortable with what is my part and my whole and my percent and how to change percents into decimals, the percent proportion may be more your jam. So y'all have a great rest of your day and a super duper week. Bye, guys.